everybody, my name is Helen, and today I am here with my January to April wrap-up, and there's a dog barking. Anyway, for the beginning of the year I was still in a fair bit of a reading slump, so I did not read. But as of April, around exam season as it would figure, I did finally 100% break out of my slump. I read so many books in a 2-week time period, and it is baffling to me because I haven't read that many books in such a short period in a very, very long time. Let's jump right into this. The first book that I read, and I finished this I think in March, was Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and I read this actually with my roommate Corey. She and I read it out loud with each other so that we could both enjoy it at the same time, and it is a big part of why I'm out of my slump now, was reading this with her. This is a sort of magical circus book, but not entirely. It's not like the Night Circus. Let's put it that way, because that's how it was marketed for a lot of people, and it's why it left a lot of people kind of upset. But Corey and I both really, really enjoyed this. We loved the writing, in particular the world building and the kind of language it used to describe everything going on in the book was stunning, and we adored it. We did like the characters, but we do acknowledge that they are pretty one-dimensional. I'm hoping that in the rest of the series that we're getting with this, that they will be developed a bit more, because I would love to know more about them. And this was probably a solid 5-star book for me, regardless of that, up until the last quarter of it, and then it kind of went down a bit. But I did still really enjoy it, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I ended up picking up was Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead, and this is the third book in the Vampire Academy series. And a lot of you may know that I was rereading the first 3 books. I did read them 2-ish years ago now, and I reread 1 and 2 in December, picked up this one and finished it in March. And again, really, really enjoyed it. This is probably my favorite of the ones that I've read so far. I did still give it, I think, 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I have, I actually had to read for a class, which is going to sound very odd once you see what it is, because it is The Zombie Survival Guide, Complete Protection from the Living Dead by Max Brooks. And I had to read this for my Zombies in Pop Culture Media and Communications class. I had to read it for school, so it probably took away a lot of how much I would have enjoyed it, but I think I gave this 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's fine. The next book that I picked up, I actually picked out of my TBR jar, which is how I picked the rest of the books that I read last month in April, and how I'm still picking up the books that I'm reading right now in May. And it led to some great books for me to read, including this one, which was another little piece by Kate Carius-Quinn. It was just spectacular. This took me by surprise with how much I enjoyed it. It was very confusing for a lot of it, particularly the end. I still don't know what actually happened at the end, or what was supposed to have happened, but I still really enjoyed my time reading it. I flew through it, and it's 400 pages, and I think I read it in 2 days. 4 out of 5 stars, right around there. Absolutely adored it. It is a very dark, creepy book, so if that is something that you are into, you should definitely check this out. The next book that I read is one that had a lot of hype surrounding it when it came out, and then was getting very mixed reviews when it did come out, and that is Soundless by Rochelle Mead, which I picked up last month, 1 because it came out of my TBR jar, and 2 because I've been really wanting to read it lately. And it is a story that takes place in China and is based around some Chinese mythology, and that aspect of the story was very, very cool. But this book is very short. It's under 300 pages, and it feels like the story was very, very rushed, especially because a large part of the story doesn't start until about halfway through, and it feels like it's what have taken up the majority of the book. So things like the romance that took place in this felt very rushed. The actual adventure felt very rushed. I feel like the entire end of this was incredibly rushed. And if it had more time to breathe, I think it would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, it didn't, and I wasn't the biggest fan, so I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars. And finally, the last book that I have here that I read, I hauled fairly recently. It was a birthday present from my friend Jack, and that was Lost and Found by Brooke Davis. This follows 3 people: a 5-year-old girl who is left at a grocery store by her mother, the 87-year-old man who finds her and the 85-year-old woman who used to live across the street, and they all kind of get together, and the two elderly people try to take her to her mother, and it's kind of like a road trip thing, except it's not. I had a lot of problems with this book. At first, I was really enjoying it. I really liked the writing style, but eventually it started to really grate on me, and it got really difficult to read. Basically, I did not enjoy it very much. It was okay. There were parts of it that were good, but overall, just no. I gave this, 1.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I was not a fan. I am reading a lot more now. I've already finished one book for May, so that's something, and I'm partway through another. But I'm gonna hopefully be updating this more. I know I say that every time I make a video, but when I'm not reading, it's really hard to make book content. But when I am reading, it's a lot easier. So I'm hoping that I'll be making some more videos. Particularly, I really want to get back into reviews. That is something I'd really like to do. And I really want to talk about my writing with you guys as well, because I have been trying to do a lot of that lately. Yeah, I think that's it for today. If you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, you should let me know in the comments down below. You should let me know your thoughts and your feelings, and if there are any other books that you think I should read, and all this kind of stuff. You should let me know all of it down below. What books did you read this month? I would love to know. I'd absolutely love hearing from you, and I will see you soon in a new video. Bye!